All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to tackle a topic that's, well, it's at the heart of everything we do as educators, classroom management. And this isn't just about keeping kids in their seats. It's about creating an environment where that amazing, deep learning we all strive for can actually take root and grow.
But before we get to the solutions, I want you to just take a second. Think about your classroom, right now. What are those specific little behaviors, or maybe not so little behaviors, that just seem to derail a good lesson? The ones that eat up your time and your energy. Getting really clear on the problem is always the first step.
So, here's our game plan for today. We'll kick things off by really understanding the challenge. Then, we'll look at the solid research behind what actually works. After that, we get into the super practical stuff, building your own plan, loading up your toolkit with techniques, and wrapping our heads around the mindset that makes it all work. And we'll finish up by seeing how this all fits into the bigger picture of being a great teacher.
Okay, first step, the classroom challenge. Let's talk about why getting this right is so incredibly fundamental to our success, and more importantly, our students' success.
You know, this slide, it really gets to the core of it, doesn't it? We're all in this profession for our kids. It's a passion, it's a calling. But let's be real. When a classroom feels chaotic, that passion gets buried under a mountain of stress, and it becomes almost impossible to get those outcomes we care so much about. And that's why this is so critical. Classroom management is not about control for the sake of control. Not at all. It's about creating potential. It's what builds that orderly space where real learning can happen, where kids can grow socially and emotionally. And maybe most importantly, it's how we maximize every single precious minute our students are actually engaged in learning.
So let's look at the foundation that all of these effective strategies are built on. This isn't just guesswork. It comes from solid educational research.
And just so we're all on the same page, this is what we mean when we talk about classroom management. It's this whole collection of skills, all the different techniques we use to create that productive learning space. It is absolutely a professional skill set.
Now, these ideas have deep roots in some fascinating research, like the groundbreaking work of Jacob Koonin. Way back in 1970, he did something pretty revolutionary for the time. He put video cameras in dozens of classrooms. He wanted to see what the most effective teachers were actually doing, not just what they said they did.
And this right here, this was his big discovery. The single biggest difference between teachers who ran smooth classrooms and those who struggled wasn't about being more strict. It was about one word: adaptation. The effective managers had a whole toolbox of strategies, and they knew which tool to use for which kid in which situation. The others, they basically had one hammer they used for every single problem.
Which, of course, brings us to that classic question. Are some teachers just born with this skill? Is it magic? Well, the research gives us a clear, loud answer. Nope. They are made. Good classroom managers are teachers who learn, practice, and master specific learnable techniques. Okay, so if these skills can be made, how do we start making them? It all begins with a simple, solid plan that's really built on just two core components.
Honestly, the plan itself is incredibly simple. Step 1, come up with a small number of really clear rules. That's your structure. Step 2, set clear consequences. Because here's the thing, without consequences, rules are just nice suggestions on a poster. The consequences are what give the rules their meaning.
All right, now for the fun part. Let's start filling your professional toolkit. We're going to go through a few high-impact, super practical strategies that you can adapt and start using in your classroom pretty much right away.
First on the list, the entry routine. Just picture it. The bell rings, and instead of that chaotic burst of energy, students walk in, they see a do now on the board, and they get right to work. You see, that first 2 minutes sets the tone for the entire class. This simple routine makes it clear that from the moment they walk through that door, this is a place for learning.
Next up, seat signals. Oh man, we have all been there. You are in the zone, giving a killer explanation, and a hand shoots up. Can I have a pencil? And just like that, the flow is broken. With a simple, nonverbal system, like 1 finger for the restroom, 2 for a pencil, students can communicate without saying a word. It's such a small change, but it makes a huge difference in keeping that instructional momentum going.
Then we have tight transitions. You know, those moments between activities can be like black holes, where instructional time just vanishes. Moving from group work back to their seats, you can lose 3, 4, 5 minutes right there. But if you create and practice efficient routines, you reclaim all that precious time for learning. It's all about making every single second count.
Okay, let's talk about building a positive culture. The props technique is just fantastic for this. So when a student shares a really great idea, you can say, hey, let's give props to Michael for that. And the whole class does a quick little silent cheer or snaps. It instantly makes success something the whole group celebrates, which is a powerful way to build a supportive community.
This next one is a total game changer because of how subtle it is. Nonverbal intervention. It's the art of correcting an off-task behavior without saying a single word. So instead of stopping your lesson, you might just make eye contact, use a small hand gesture, or even just walk a little closer to their desk. It's a quiet, low-stress correction that keeps the rest of the class completely focused on the lesson.
And finally, do it again. This strategy is such a calm but firm way to maintain high expectations. If your students line up messily, you don't need a lecture. You just say, calmly, "That's not our standard. Let's do it again, please." See, it's not a punishment. It's about practice. It reinforces what's expected without creating a big confrontation.
So we've covered the plan, we've covered the tools, but none of these techniques are going to be as effective as they could be without the right mindset. And that brings us to a really crucial idea, and it might sound a little counterintuitive: the power of gentleness.
This quote just nails it. A gentle approach is an active strategy. When the teacher is calm, it lowers the stress level for everyone in the room, including you. And a less anxious classroom is, without a doubt, a happier and more productive classroom.
And let's be crystal clear. Gentleness is not weakness. As this slide points out, it's actually a source of incredible strength. It's how you build the rapport and influence you need for students to want to follow your lead. It turns classroom management from a battle into a partnership.
So let's pull all of this together. Research shows that our impact as teachers really comes down to how well we handle three essential roles. We choose our instructional strategies, we design the curriculum, and as we've been talking about, we employ classroom management techniques. It's not just some extra thing we do, it's one of the three main pillars of our craft.
And that brings us to our final thought for you to take with you. Looking at these three foundational pillars of effective teaching, just ask yourself, to elevate your practice and to get the results you really want for your students, which of these three roles will you focus on first?